Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to get this. Uh, I'll just present it like this for now. So this is fun project is called Fun Writer. And is made by me and Marisabel Chang, but I will be presenting it today. So as for the background, I am a high school student in the United States, and something that I have noticed for um the past few months in my grade is that there are a lot of students when they are writing writing English essays, they often run into trouble relating to paraphrasing and summarizing different types of text. And usually, this is when they are trying to get information from like another source, and they are trying to get information from it, but they are not sure how to properly rephrase it, and oftentimes they would directly copy, and that is plagiarism and is not allowed. So I decided to think of ways to help solve this issue, and I decided that one way to do this would be to create a writing helper that could help with reading and analyzing text and also with writing. So some examples of writing tools that already exist they include Grammarly and Google Spell Check. Both of these are used very often in school. And but something I realized is that this wasn't not really helping the students when they are trying to paraphrase or summarize, because what they most mainly do is they find any issues or mainly grammar issues that you have in your text, and they give you suggestions that on how you could change those. But there you cannot tell them that you want this specific line to be changed and force the programs to edit it or make changes to it. So for as a solution, I we created a website that could accomplish this task. This is FunWriter. It is an online website, and right here is a text box, and below are three buttons. I'm sorry, it's like I can't I can yeah, here are three buttons for paraphrasing text, summarizing text, and extracting keywords from a text. And what the user does is they will input they can type any type of any text or copy and paste any text inside this text box. And after they have done so, they can select a button, and the program will perform the task that they select. And by having a text box, the user they can either just copy and paste a text from their writing, or they can also analyze another piece of work. If they do not understand it clearly, they can copy and paste a the paragraphs into the text box, and they can analyze it to understand it better. So the way this is a diagram of how the system works. The user gives an input into the algorithm, and depending on what the second user input is for the button, that the algorithm would use a function that would print out all possible solutions that the user may want. So this website is made with Python, and in order to this this project is made in Python, and in order to make changes to different types of writing, it uses three main libraries. It uses Pegasus, BART Transformer, and NLT Rake. Pegasus for paraphrasing, BART for summarizing, and NLTK for extracting keywords. And I chose these three libraries to use because after testing multiple different libraries, it was these three that give the most consistent outputs. And because there are some other libraries that may have less content or say too much content than other libraries, and that could sometimes give very strange or undesirable outputs. So here is one example that uses an informational piece of text. So this is demonstrating the first function, the paraphrasing function. So for the paraphrasing function, it is designed to take in one sentence at a time because when the testing the algorithm, if an entire paragraph is put inside of a paraphrasing function, sometimes it would rewrite it, but in the process, it might get rid of many of the main subjects, and that is not something that should be desirable when trying to rephrase a text. So I left that up to the summarizing function instead. But for this paraphrasing function, it takes a single sentence of text and rewrites it in three different ways. Here I have highlighted the main changes that it added to rephrase the text differently. So here I am using the same text, except this time I am using the whole paragraph instead of one sentence, and for this is for the summarizing function. And here you can see that the text began with 66 words and it ended with 44 words. And it kept made mostly the same subjects with slightly less detail. And even though the jump from 66 words to 44 words it doesn't seem like much of a difference. The text I used to begin with wasn't too large to begin with, and there is quite a bit of information in it. But as long as it is shortened and keeps mainly the same subjects, it should work all right. And this is the third function, the keyword function, using the same text. And what this function does is it analyzes the text that is inputted and it gives phrases and words that it finds inside the text, and it also outputs similar words and phrases that may not necessarily be inside the text, but is still related to the topic. So here we see it at first outputs the phrases that have several words that because sometimes an idea will need to be expressed like with multiple words, but most of these are subjects. There are a few words such as used that are verbs or adjectives, but the majority of the words outputted are subjects that are relating to the main topic of the text. And for the second example, we used a narrative text to see how well it can analyze narratives rather than informational. So for the input text, we use one sentence of a simple narrative sentence. And it gave once again, it gave three different versions of the sentence. And this time, it did not change much information because there was not much information to begin with, but we do see that changed the verb and also replaced the name with two different pronouns. And the good thing about having multiple different outputs is that the user can decide which which one they want to use, and it gives a bit more power to the user on what they exactly want to use inside their text. The sections Now we use the same text on the summarizing function. This time we use the entire paragraph instead of one sentence. And after we put it through the function, we see that it is once again shortened. The original text was 73 words. The summarized text is 56 words. And once again, the topic and the subjects inside the summarized text is roughly the same as the input text. For the final example, we use the same text inside the keyword function. And once again, it outputted several phrases and several words, and most of them have to do with the subjects that were mentioned inside the input text, and as well as some verbs and that relate to some words that relate to the subjects as well, such as dog went everywhere. However, I do want to note that there are a few repeating words, and I will address these issues in a later slide. Right, actually, I'll address them now. So there are there are a few areas to improve on for this project. There are So for one, there are many small grammar issues that will occasionally appear in all of the functions, and that's because the function uses a branch of artificial intelligence, and which means that a lot of the times if you input the same text into it multiple times, there will be varying results, and sometimes there could be slight grammar issues um such as periods, extra periods, or extra commas, and sometimes there will be other strange issues, but this can these issues can be refined. And another area to improve would be that there is a lot of potential for adding more functions, because as of now there is only paraphrasing and summarizing, and the keyword function is mainly used to support the summarizing process. And another area to improve is that that by adding more libraries to the program, there can be more results to be outputted for the reader and for the user, and the user will have more control of and more choices that they can use for their writing. So in summary, this what we have done is we've created a project that will allow the reader to enter any text and paraphrase, summarize, and find keywords for exactly which text, which sentences, and which words they want to be analyzed. And this program utilizes libraries containing artificial intelligence to transform different texts. And some future developments will be, for one, to include more functions that can be used. One design is to produce images that would either be stock images found online, or utilizing AI generated art to produce what the user is trying to envision in their writing. And another design would be to check for grammar, which can help in writing, but is not crucial to the main goal of the project. And finally, it would be good create a writing environment so that the user can be immersed in like an area of writing where they can focus and but at the same time use the functions in this program to assist with the writing. And the reason this program is called the Fun Writer is that we are trying to make the writing process in especially high school to not seem so tedious, to seem more enjoyable. Because what I found is many times if the user is not like not satisfied and do not believe that they can properly change their writing to how they want it to, they are less engaged. And I believe that by allowing the user to have the ability to make these changes and to their text, it could result into better writing. And I also want to reaffirm that this program is not meant to this program is not meant to write essays for any students or any users. This is meant to assist users in paraphrasing and summarizing and changing things that the user themselves come up with. So I did not implement any programs that could take an idea or a basic subject from a user and write an essay and build off of that for them. And thank you for listening to my presentation.